Hello everyone, welcome back to Technique. This is Nirmal here, and in this video we'll be doing the camera review of one of the really good devices below the 20,000 price segment in India. We have the Infinix GT 10 Pro. Now Infinix GT 10 Pro was launched today, and this comes with really good hardware for what price it is being offered. The pricing is 19,999, and with card offers you get as low as 17,999, and for that pricing you get the Dimensity 8050 chip, and you get 8GB RAM, 256GB storage, 120Hz AMOLED display, 5000 mAh battery, 45W charging. So everything is there, and you get a really good camera setup as well. You get a 108 megapixel triple camera setup and a 32 megapixel selfie camera. So that's the camera hardware and the device hardware. So how good is the camera? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. So a lot of you might be interested in knowing how the camera performance is, because it's a really good device in terms of hardware. So let's begin. So before that, if this is your first time on this channel, do hit that red subscribe button and also hit the bell icon to get notified of all the videos we publish. So let's first go into the hardware. Now you get a primary 108 megapixel camera, f1.75 aperture, face detection autofocus, 6p lens. Then secondary camera is a 2 megapixel depth sensor, and third is a 2 megapixel macro sensor. So it misses out on the ultra wide angle camera, quite acceptable because you get almost all of the features. So missing on the ultra wide could be like something you will have to accept. So that's quite okay for the device. Now that's the rear camera setup, and on the front you get a 32 megapixel selfie camera. That's f2.45 aperture. So the rear camera is capable of 4K 30 FPS video, and the front camera is capable of 2K recording. So that's the camera hardware. Now let's go straight into the camera samples and see how the performance is on the Infinix GT 10 Pro. Now looking at the daylight captures, one thing you can notice is that there is good dynamic range available, and the detailing is very good, and the sharpness levels are also quite acceptable for the price segment it is offered. But one thing what is not so great is the color reproduction. The images are saturated and vivid, and they don't give a natural color to the images. But a lot of people when we reviewed mentioned that they do like saturated images. They are really vivid, and especially the sky colors, the greens are too much saturated. But again, there is a section of people who do like saturated images, and for them this definitely works great. So the overall quality of the images definitely looks good. Now moving on to the close-up shots, once again you can see that there is good amount of sharpness, the detailing is good, but once again the colors are saturated and does not give an accurate or natural colors. It's kind of boosted colors, but again a lot of people do like these colors. Now moving on to the macro camera, it's a decent 2 megapixel shooter, I would say. The detailing is good, the sharpness levels isn't that impressive, but colors are kind of okayish, I would say, considering other 2 megapixel shooters. This is decent performance overall. Now moving on to the portraits, here you can see once again the colors are saturated, but the skin tones are not very accurate. It's slightly overexposed, but again in this price segment I would say it's kind of decent performance. The edge detection is also quite acceptable for this price segment. So what do you guys think about the portraits? Now moving on to the low light images. In indoor lights, it does produce some good images. You can see here indoor artificial light, there is good amount of details, noise levels are kept to minimum, and the sharpness levels are also impressive. When light drops further, you can still see that there is good amount of details on offer. In extreme low light conditions, it's better to turn on the night mode, and this is surprisingly good for a 20K device. There is good amount of details. Once again, colors are a bit saturated, but the detailing is good. They are mostly clean. Sharpness levels is once again acceptable for this price segment. So overall Infinix GT 10 Pro does a quite good job with the rear camera performance. Now let's move on to the selfies. Here again you can see the 32 megapixel selfie camera does pretty well in terms of skin tones. Here you don't see that kind of saturation, although there is a bit hint of saturation, but not as much as the rear camera. Here you can see that the skin tones are definitely acceptable, and dynamic range is also really good. The portrait selfies looks quite okay. The edge detection is definitely decent, if not the best, but overall I would say in the price of 20K this is definitely good performance from both the rear and the front cameras. Now moving on to the video recording. The video recording is capped at 4K 30 FPS, and you can see that the detailing is good, the sharpness levels are good, and colors are also quite okay, but there is no stabilization being offered. But as a result, you can't do a moving footage with this, but then still it's good in terms of 4K recording, which many devices don't offer. Now the 1080p 60 FPS video also does not offer any stabilization, but once again the quality definitely looks good because there is no EIS nor OIS. It is a bit shaky in footage. Now the 1080p 30 fps also doesn't support EIS unless you toggle it, so you have to toggle the ultra steady mode, then only you get the stabilized footage, the EIS. Now we have turned on the EIS or the ultra steady mode, and here you can see that footage looks good. The panning is pretty smooth actually, and the detailing and colors are also quite good. So 1080p 30 fps with the ultra steady mode definitely works pretty well. So that's the one with the stabilization enabled. So this is the front facing camera sample taken using the 32 megapixel shooter on the Infinix GT10 Pro. It can record videos in 2K resolution, but it doesn't support stabilization in that format. Stabilization is available only for 1080p 30 fps. So this is the 1080p 30 fps video. There is also 1080p 60 fps in case you want stabilization. So what do you guys think about the selfie video on the Infinix GT10? So this is the 1080p 60 fps video using the front camera, but this does not support stabilization, so you can judge how good the quality is. So that was our detailed experience with the Infinix GT10 Pro in terms of camera. So summing up, how good is the camera for 20k price segment? We would say definitely good. It won't disappoint most of the users unless you are really particular about natural colors. This won't disappoint users. There is good amount of details. The sharpness levels are good. The portraits are kind of okay-ish, I would say. The selfies are good. The low light performance is also surprisingly good for this segment. So Infinix has done a quite good job, I would say. Even 4K 30 fps video recording is available, and the 1080p 30 fps with ultra steady mode works quite good. So video recording is also good. So overall I would say the Infinix GT10 Pro does a quite good job in terms of camera, unless you are really particular about color reproduction. If you want natural colors, this is definitely not for you, but otherwise this won't disappoint users, and it's a quite good capable camera with the Infinix GT10 Pro. So that was our experience with the Infinix GT10 Pro. So what do you guys think about the camera on the Infinix GT10 Pro? Do let us know your thoughts in the comment section. This is Nirmal signing off. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.